never meant to travel back in time. It wasn't some noble mission or crazy science experiment. I was just a girl, tired, heartbroken, and desperate for some peace. I had been walking through the woods behind my grandmother's abandoned house, chasing memories more than anything, when I found the gate. It didn't look special. Just an old, rusted arch of iron with ivy climbing up its sides. I walked through it without thinking. 1 second it was late autumn in 2025, my phone buzzing in my pocket, and the next, silence. No signal. No cars. No lights. Just the chirping of birds and the strange stillness of another time. I panicked at first. Ran back and forth, screamed for help, even tried to retrace my steps, but the gate was gone. In its place was nothing but forest. Wilder. Denser. I didn't understand what had happened. My clothes looked wrong, my phone was useless, and everyone I saw looked at me like I had stepped off a stage I didn't belong on. Eventually, I learned I was in 1891. A small village near what would eventually become my grandmother's town. They thought I was either mad or lost, or both. A kind woman named Mrs. Hawthorne took me in. She said I reminded her of her daughter who died young. I played along. I had to. I didn't know how else to survive. For the first few days, I stayed quiet. Watched. Listened. Tried to figure out what had happened to me. I convinced myself I just needed to find that gate again. Maybe it was a loop. Maybe it would reopen. I went into the woods every night. But nothing. It became a habit. A quiet routine. And then I met him. His name was Elias. A boy with too much dirt on his boots and a mind that asked too many questions. I noticed him watching me the way I watched everything else. Carefully. Silently. As though he was trying to solve a puzzle. He helped me carry water one morning, and just like that, we were talking. He was different. Smarter than most boys I'd met, but guarded. Like someone had told him early on that dreaming was dangerous. I told him half-truths. Said I'd come from far away. That I didn't belong here. That I was waiting for something to change. He laughed. Said he felt the same way. Like time had swallowed him up and dropped him in the wrong life. I tried not to care. I told myself over and over, this wasn't real. It couldn't be. But the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. I started helping around the village. Mrs. Hawthorne let me read her books at night. I taught Elias how to read maps. We'd sit in the fields, and I'd trace the lines of countries that didn't exist yet. He said I made the future sound like magic. He kissed me one night. Soft, hesitant, like he was afraid I'd vanish. And part of me wanted to. But the bigger part, terrified and aching, kissed him back. It was a mistake. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the only thing that ever felt real. After that, I stopped looking for the gate. But the universe, as it turns out, doesn't wait for hearts to catch up. The gate returned one day in spring. It just appeared. Right where I'd found it. Like it had been sleeping and finally woke up. I knew what it meant. It was my way home. My real life was on the other side. I stood in front of it for hours. Elias found me there. He didn't ask any questions. Just looked at me like he already knew. "Is this goodbye?" he asked. I didn't answer. My chest was so tight I could barely breathe. "I don't want to forget you," he said, stepping closer. "Even if I never understand you." I want to remember. I kissed him again. It tasted like rain and panic and the end of something beautiful. I wanted to tell him everything. That I was from a time where people didn't die from small infections, where women could vote, where airplanes crossed oceans. But I didn't. I just said, "You were my reason to stay." And then I walked through. I woke up in the woods. Cold. Alone. The gate was gone again. It's been 2 years since then. I live in the same town, work in a bookstore, and sometimes I dream of fields and fireflies and a boy who asked too many questions. People always say time travel stories are about changing the past or saving the future. But mine was about love. The kind that doesn't care about timelines or logic. The kind that breaks your heart when you leave it behind. And if I ever find that gate again, I don't know if I'll come back. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Your support keeps the stories coming.